Miami's hot, 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 hot fire. Miami's hot, 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 hot fire. If you notice, my voice almost went out a little bit there. And maybe because of Adriana's energy in this episode. Yes, but for those who have never seen my face before, hello, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Sharon, aka the Melanin Nostalgic Runner, and we are back for another recap of The Real Housewives of Miami, Season 6, Episode 10, and this is called Mamacita Madness Part 2. And this episode, it was a pretty dark episode. I'll just say that. There wasn't really much positivity in this episode. Yeah, it doesn't align with my channel. Let's just say that. It's one of those things where like, ooh, pretty low vibrational plate energy in this episode. And I have some opinions. And yeah, we're going to get into it though. So the episode does continue where we left off. And also too, I don't think this recap's going to be that long. I know I say that all the time, but in this case, yeah, I'm just serious. Yeah. So the episode does continue where both Alexia and Marisol, they're making sure they're basically on their way out the door because they're upset that Anna's going to be there, and they still think that Dr. Nicole set them up. And yeah, I feel like my opinion of this might change slightly, but let's get into the recap though, nonetheless. So it picks up where we left off with that. So then we see that Gertie is actually on her way there with Jill, which is Russell's sister, to the brunch, thinking it's going to be like, you know, an actual positive event and not some hot mess event that, well, you'll see that it became. And, well, it was that from jump. And so they show up, and then as they're showing up, both, so she sees that Marisol, Julia, and Alexia are outside because Julia went after Marisol and really mainly Alexia because she wanted to console Alexia to figure out, hey, you know, she's trying to calm them down and trying to get them back in the brunch, basically. And also keep in mind, Julia knows more than what she's letting on. She knows why there's an issue here. Not to the full extent, but she knows more than what she's letting on. And I'm curious to know if this is going to bite her later on in the season or even in the reunion. Because, man, the way her friend just atomic bombed everyone just for the sake of her being on this show. Anyway, so, and we'll get to that. But anyway, so she's trying to like get Marisol and Alexia to come back in. Well, calm down first and then come back in the place. And then Gertie goes out there like, what's going on? Because she's confused. And then we see that Lisa and Larsa show up in the Honda Fit and they're beeping like beep, beep, beep. And Lisa thinks she's being funny. And they did kind of laugh a little bit, but in the confessional, the producers asked Gertie like how they thought about what she thought about that, and Gertie and I were here on that. She was like, it fell flat. It wasn't giving what she thought it was giving. If anything, it gives like her being pretentious and being self-absorbed, and not knowing how to read the room, and still not understanding the point. Which is literally, I mean, she didn't say all that, but she kind of said that without saying that, because that was literally my thought on the whole situation last episode, because Lisa just be dense at times, and I want to like Lisa, and I do overall, but she's really annoying and pretty dense. Anyway, so from there, they're all outside. Pretty much most of the party's outside. Kiki is trying to talk to Dr. Nicole, because Dr. Nicole still is confused by the whole situation, and unless Dr. Nicole all of a sudden became this amazing Academy actress, I really don't think Dr. Nicole knew. I think she knew that they had some history, but from all the clips that they're showing, even with the reunion when she's mentioned that she's talked to Anna before, there's nothing that says they don't like her. It was dry, but wasn't it wasn't to the point where they didn't, like, it's like, I don't like her, I won't be in the same room as her. Like, it wasn't giving that energy. So, to me, I really don't think Dr. Nicole knew. Now, Dr. Nicole has a tough time explaining herself, which makes her seem guilty as F, but that's my view on it. Yeah, I already kind of got to it. So, basically, they find out from Marisol that why they're outside. Marisol's like, I'm not going in there, I'm leaving. And so, Bro and Marisol leave. And they do. They actually do leave. Leave the scene, and the rest of the ladies go back in the brunch. Go into the brunch. Well, some of them are going into the brunch for the first time because a lot of them didn't even go in the brunch. They went directly outside where everyone else was at. And yeah, so Larsa asks a simple question, who invited her? And Larsa is confused why they're leaving and claiming she doesn't even know her. And Larsa, girl, which, no. The reason why I'm giving that reaction, because Larsa is one of the OGs. She was in season 1 of this show. Anna was on season 1 through 3. You know her. Why is everyone giving the Mariah Carey answer? Like, at least it makes it plain and simple like this. She don't like her. Because we find out, because they keep showing, shout out to whoever's podcast that was. They're getting so much free promotion from the last 2 episodes because of Anna. But they just keep showing all these clips of Anna talking all this stuff about all of the OG ladies. Minus Larsa. They didn't talk about Larsa. Because probably, honestly, Larsa was only on there for 1 season. And her first season wasn't the best. So, it was even a little bit of controversy of how she even came back on the show. But at the time, when Real Housewives of Miami first aired, not everyone knew who Larsa Pimpin was. This was before Larsa even connected with the Kardashians. And Larsa's body and face don't even look the same. It doesn't even look like the same lady. Why is this kept? So, and this is me not trying to throw shade. I'm actually being really, really honest. Like, go back to, for those who have never seen the original Real Housewives of Miami, go back to season 1. And then go to today. All the other ladies pretty much look the same except for Larsa. There's a drastic difference, even though she denies it. So, also too, I am going to say something real quick. I was a little confused by the editing here. And the reason why I'm going to say this, because it does show that Adriana and Anna showed up at the party, but then they didn't go in right away. And then later on, it shows that they arrived. Let me know if that was just something. I don't know if maybe they arrived somewhere else that kind of looked like the front of the establishment. But to me, I think this was just a little bit of a bad editing job. And I hate that pointing it out because I feel like this would not be a problem if this was still in Peacock and not on Bravo. I'm just going to say it. There is a look and feel of a difference to me. I think when it was on Peacock alone, it was a much cleaner viewership experience. Even though they're the same company and same affiliation of NBC Universal, I can see the difference. It's just me speaking up on it. But yeah. Anyway, Lisa's there, and Lisa's like, back to the point of Lisa saying she doesn't want to sit by Anna because Anna's been talking all this stuff about her. And anyway, they kind of get all that out the way. And then Gertie's like kind of annoyed that like all this is happening right up front. Because this is already a disaster before the party even started. And we find out that Gertie's surgery to get the tumor removed out of her breast tissue is the next day. And I'm like, wow. And you're in this, and this type of environment when you have surgery the next day. Wow. And I'm saying that because if you thought it wasn't going to get any worse, oh child, this event blew up as a whole entire disaster. And so she announces that she has the surgery next day. Everyone cheers. It's like, okay, cheers to the full-on recovery. Kiki was nice to say, hey, let me know if you need anything. And then Gertie's like, no, I kind of got my arrangements together. Like, she basically states all the people who are going to be helping her out as she recovers. And then Lisa takes it upon herself. And this is why, Lisa, I be wanting to like you, but I be feeling away because you be doing this and you tend to really only do it with one person, I've noticed. And I want to think that about you, but I'm looking at you a little bit funny. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, she mentions like, oh, so what'd you think about me? I'm driving in the car, Gertie. And Gertie's like, it was all right, whatever. And she's like, it was kind of funny. She's like, oh, I didn't do that to be funny. I did that to prove a point. And then she goes to this whole entire tangent, like, you're questioning us about my finances and, and all that. And it's like, Lisa, read the room. This is supposed to be a pleasant experience, and it was pleasant until you decide to make it not pleasant out of nowhere. And she literally just said a sentence before that she has surgery, fighting for her life. Gertie has way more class than me. I'm like, honestly, as soon as Lisa would have started with that, I would have ended her. I would be like, B, I don't care about you and what's going on with your life. I'm fighting for my life right now. So shut the F up. And I would have stormed out and out of there. Because you're not going to play in my face. Like, I just don't like that she does that. Because Gertie is not the type of girl, just in general, even before all this was happening, she's not a confrontational girl. She just isn't. She'll bring it to you, but she's a little bit more on the passive side, just in general. That's just her personality. And so it really, I just wish, I really wish, I wanted to be your cousin coming up in there, like, because I was a little annoyed. Like, lady, read the room. Don't come at Gertie right now. You could have held on to that. You could have waited. You could have put that aside. Write it in the journal and address her about that later. Seriously. And then it goes from there to Gertie's like, okay, you got it. I'm not fighting with you. Because to her point, Gertie's not going to fight you, considering the fact that she literally has surgery the next day. She's like, okay, you got it. You got it. And then Lisa shifts from there to then attacking Julia. And I mean, just going off on Julia because of the fact that Julia did question her parenting. So in this case, timing was still messed up, though. I just kind of wish she would have chose a different time to do all this. But Lisa already had set her mind she was going to do this. She said it on the way there, that last episode, that energy was going to be negative for people who gave her negative energy, and those who didn't, it's going to be positive. So apparently she had to get that 25% out of the way. But she ends up trying to go off on Julia, and Julia's like, I said what I said. And then she goes on to demand an apology of Julia because Julia questioned her leaving her kids there after, that whole thing happened with the cops. And Julia's like, I'm not apologizing. I was like, oh. And everyone around her is like, girl, just apologize. Because, number one, no one likes their motherhood being questioned. No matter what, friends don't do that to friends. That was kind of a low blow. And we already expressed 2 episodes ago, Julia's tone and delivery and even timing, it don't be right ever. It's so direct. It's so, as a matter of fact, it's so not reading the room. Like, if anything, a lot of these ladies have that in common, the lack of wherewithal to read the room. And so Julia's like, but I'm not sorry for what I said. But like, Gertie and the ladies and even Kiki, they're trying to get her apologize to just, this is not the hill to die on, basically. Because really, Gertie's apology, she meant what she said. And everyone knows that Gertie meant what she said. And she even tried to explain how she meant what she said, but it's not the hill to die on. It's petty at the end of the day. And Julia's like, but I don't apologize when I'm not sorry. Like, she's so, like, I was like, man, see, this is the beauty and also the conflict that happens when you have mixed cultural background group. Because I will say this, I feel like, I don't know for sure, chime in the comments if this is what it is for those who are probably from other parts of the world. That might be kind of the Eastern European thing, like just like, no, I said what I said and that's that on that. Like the sensitivity and emotion isn't going to be there. Because the way Julia said it, she doesn't think she said it in an offensive way. But you did offend her. And I understand why Lisa was offended by that. Now, the overall timing of you mentioning all this when this is supposed to be a positive energy brunch, girl. But yeah, because Julia didn't apologize, Lisa does a whole entire low blow. It's like, you don't even know where your daughter goes to school at. Which I was like, man. And also, too, by the way, that's not the last time in this particular just seeing alone that people's families got brought into the argument. The flagrancy. So by the way, all this is happening and Anna ain't even there yet. This is just all happening just with them by themselves. And the thing that was kind of this chaotic mess the whole entire time was that the poet that was there is literally typing poems and haikus the whole entire time as all this is happening. And so Lisa gets mad. She storms out. So that's storming out number 3. Because, by the way, there's going to be a storm out counter because people keep storming out of this party because of how bad it ended and how it turned out. So, Lisa storms out, catches her breath. It's just like, oh my gosh. But then she returns and everyone asks if she is okay. She's like, yeah. And then Dr. Nicole gives Lisa this poem that the poet wrote. And it brings Lisa to tears and brings mood back to here. And the key thing is that was probably the only time where the mood was to here. The whole other time during this whole entire event, it's at 10. It's ridiculous. So then, after that, Anna and Adriana arrive. And I already mentioned before that the edit job is kind of weird here. Anyway, so they arrive after it just went down for things to go back up again. And Lisa's kind of looking really awkward. I mean, it's really awkward. Because number one, Anna's just like, I don't know why I'm here. Anna didn't even know why she was there. Partially. And I have more opinions on that towards the end of the episode. And then Lisa, so basically, she immediately goes to Lisa and gives her words of affirmation. But she literally called, Lisa a bimbo. She didn't say that exactly, but she kind of called her that during that interview. And so Lisa's just like, you're giving me all these positive words. And she's trying to take it in, but she doesn't believe it because it was like you literally were talking stuff about me. And so it's super uncomfortable, super weird. But Lisa does get the party started some more. She was like, let me just address the elephant in the room. Marisol and Alexia are not going to be here because you're here. She straight up said it. She's like, let's just call a thing a thing. They're not going to be here because you're here. They saw your name. They don't want you. They're not here. Adriana is immediately upset. Immediately. And this is why I'm going to say what I said. Because Adriana, throughout this whole entire episode, and even the episode before, girl, you were wrong. And I called it last episode. And everyone was just like, no, it was Dr. Nicole. They did it together. No. The most guiltiest person in that group looks like the most angriest. And it's definitely Adriana. What she had planned, she thought she was going to eat and do something kind of awesome and expose and all this stuff. And it didn't go to her favor at all. It just turned to a hot mess. You ruined people's evenings. You ruined the Mother's Day brunch for... Oh, side note. There is actual regular people there who are friends with the cast members who are there. And they did not get to enjoy their brunch. Maybe they got paid or whatever for that. I'm assuming in real life they probably got paid for that. And then they got to hang out and stuff after the fact. I don't know. But they were just there like... This was happening the whole entire time. Dr. Nicole's friends were like this. And Jill was kind of just standing there awkward. She's like, sitting there awkwardly. She's like, I don't know what to do. I'm not really here for this. But anyway. So then, basically, Lisa asked Anna why she's there. And she was like, well, I was invited here. And then Larsa asked Adriana, why did you do this? Why did you invite Anna here? And then Adriana, being snippy and annoyed that her plan didn't work, she was like, are you the hostess? Well, then that's none of your business. And then Adriana and Larsa are going at it. So while they're going at it, Lisa is going at it with Anna. Because Lisa is just like, you are here for not good intentions. I know you're here for not good intentions. I don't trust it. And then while all this is happening, and then after she says that, Lisa leaves again. But she leaves unbeknownst to the rest of the ladies while Lars is confronting Adriana to call Marisol and Alexia. Marisol and Alexia apparently weren't that far away. And so she calls and she's like, hey, you need to come here ASAP. They're talking, they're talking back trash. You need to come here ASAP. And guess what? They end up coming up. They end up popping up. So now the party went from 10 to 100. It already was too hype and now it's way hype. And now, because they've been drinking, we found out that Marisol and Alexia just went down the street or wherever to get some drinks, getting litty, and then they ran to Anthony, Dr. Nicole's fiance. So now they're calmed down in the energy and going towards Dr. Nicole at the moment. But then because Alexia likes to talk over people and talk for people and everything else, she thought probably that she was going to eat and they were going to just all of them double team, because what the other thing that happened was when Lisa called them trying to get them to come back, she's like, Larsa and I got your back. Us as OGs, we'll do what we need to do and get her out of there. Pretty much saying that. And so they felt like, okay, we got the numbers on our side, we're coming back. I know that's really what it was. And so Alexia, kind of giving a little bit bully-like energy, because she's a little bit of a bully. Sorry. Based off of what I see on this show, you come off as a bully, like a lot. And so anyway, she's all like coming on high and mighty on her high horse. And child, it becomes more and more of a disaster as we go. So they're like, oh no, we just came for some drinks and now we're here. You're not going to make us like not come to our party. Like, they came on that kind of energy, too, on top of it. And then she was like, and Dr. Nicole doesn't even know you like that. And then Dr. Nicole's like, wait. Don't put words in my mouth. I know her. She's like, well, why did you have trouble saying her last name? She's like, I have trouble saying people's last names all the time. Like, I literally know her. Which, by the way, she stated in New York that she knew her with the reunion. So, they've been talking. Which... that is not helping you, Dr. Nicole, because they're setting you up. Because it sounds like you set this up because you've been talking to her. Everyone else is saying that they haven't been talking to her. And no one cares enough about... And Adriana's just sitting there on mute, even though she started this whole thing. And was really her who did all this. And it just is driving me... The only person that's really kind of... The only two people that are checking her is Kiki and Larsa. So Larsa and Kiki are going off on Adriana. Adriana's going off on both of them. Dr. Nicole And Alexia, it escalated because she's like, why are you saying, like, no, that's not true. I know her. And it's like, and then Marisol jumps in to support Bro, per usual, against Dr. Nicole. And then out of nowhere, Alexia's like, oh, so that's probably why your mom isn't here. And I was like, you brought Dr. Nicole's mama in it? Oh, yeah. So literally all these arguments are happening all at the same time. Because then also Lisa is going out with Anna. But then she kind of stops going out with Anna. And then literally while all this is happening, and even the editors, oh my gosh, the editors did a great job where they're showing all these boxes of everyone arguing. And it was really kind of annoying to hear. Gertie has enough and she's like, I'm out. And by the way, that was number 6 as far as the amount of times that someone has stormed out. And then Anna leaves right after her. So Anna leaves after that. And Julia, the whole entire time, is giving Adriana a death stare. She is pissed because she knows that Adriana's really was the one who's behind all this. She knows it. And she's like, but the thing is, Julia promised her that she wasn't going to say anything. Yeah. So that's how the scene ended. Hot ass mess. Next, we went from chaotic bad to somber bad. So this is the day of Gertie's surgery, and this was really tough to watch. I kind of busted out crying like more than once, and I actually had to like stop it a couple times because we're literally seeing the whole process. I mean, we don't see her get undressed and she goes to surgery, but we're seeing her getting prepared. We see her show up at the hospital. The nurse who is helping her out states that she's a breast cancer survivor and she'll get through it. They were chosen. And yeah, so as the surgery is about to start, right before the surgery is about to start, Gertie calls her parents and they do a prayer. And then her mom just starts crying, like hysterically. And I forgot about this and I knew about it. I think it was not this past season. The first season of Gertie, I think, being on the show. Gertie lost her brother and her brothers and the brothers' kids in Haiti. They were killed. And so her mom, Gertie's mom, has already lost a child already. So the idea of her other child having a serious health issue that could potentially be deadly, it's a lot. It's a lot. But Russell's there with her the whole entire time. And I'm glad that they're sharing this with us. And it kind of brings... it's interesting how they're filming this because they're filming the parallels. They're showing the mess. That is like a Real Housewives show. But then they're getting to the real. And yeah, it was pretty emotional. Next, we have the montage of it's Marcus and Larsa. They're having lunch together. And then they're doing this cool little handshake they got. I think they're just really, really close friends. I still don't believe the relationship. Y'all know I don't believe the relationship. But anyway, it was a quick montage. So they show that. And they show Lisa in her closet. Probably getting rid... Well, it looks like she's getting rid of some clothes. Probably to sell, which would be smart. Because that's a good way to get some coins. And then Russell is in the waiting room, waiting for things to wrap up. And then Dr. Nicole FaceTimes him to check on Gertie. And she's in her scrubs like, hey, just let me know if you need anything. I got you. And so that was nice to see that Dr. Nicole was checking up. But yeah, the montage was kind of little, nothing to it. And then next we see that Adriana arrives at Julia's house. Julia is giving her dog a bath. And we find out after the brunch and after all that chaos, they actually had a pretty lit after party. And the after party looked like a good time, like quiet as kept. They're like throwing drinks, but like water, but like as you know, hot girl summer type ish. And and Julie's like kissing half the girls. Like Julia. So Julia starts kissing Kiki, and then she kisses Lisa instead as well. And Julia jokes in the confessional. She's like, "Yeah, I just figured out we'll kiss and make up." But literally, kiss and make up. I'm telling you, Julia be literal. And I'm going to give you a lot of my feedback right after I explain what happens here. So, Julia makes lunch for Adriana and recaps to Adriana what happened prior to her and Anna showing up. But then Julia gets right to it. She's like, "Why did you invite her?" And Julia basically states that, long story less long, to wrap up the scene, she pretty much confronts Adriana and she's like, "I'm not here for this. I don't like that you're trying to expose your friend. I don't like that. I'm not here for it. I'm trying to build a friendship with Alexia, so I'm not here for it." And she pretty much says that. And Adriana gets upset and pretty much doesn't handle it well at all. And she's like, "So you think her friendship," like, in her confessional, Adriana makes it seem like she's picking sides. And it's just like, wow. And then she's like, "I'm not here for the devil's advocate thing. I'm not here for that." And so Adriana leaves. So this is my feedback on this. I think Adriana is so desperate to be full-time on this show, she'll do anything to do it. And I think that's what a lot of the ladies' issues with her is. And there's a lot of jealousy there. I like Adriana, and there's so many times where I think she's very genuine, beautiful spirit. But when she is in that energy of hers, because she has two sides to her, and when she has that energy that isn't so great, it seeps through the screen. It's pretty bad. And because jealousy is a disease. It's a disease. To me. Because I don't see the point of you being jealous of someone. It eats at you. It's ugly. It's not good. And it's very clear to me that even though Alexia says that term about Adriana a little too much, there's some truth to it, and that's why there is a little bit of truth to it, clearly. But yeah, and also too, the other theory that I have is, I think Julia getting to know the rest of the ladies more and, branching out more, this is going to save her from not being full time. I mean, from this will save her from getting demoted. Julia needs to do this. She needs to get to talk, be friends with the other ladies more than just Adriana. She can't do because she's a newer cast member, she can't do what Alexia does and just hang out with Marisol a lot. Because even Alexia doesn't really do that. It seems that's what's happening, and it seems like that's what happens a lot. But Alexia mixes up with all the OGs along with some of the newer people. She's made a point to kind of branch out with all of them. And Julia's friendship with Adriana makes it hard for her to do that because so many of the ladies, especially the OG ladies, don't get along with Adriana because of these kind of antics that she does. And the fact that she doesn't accept criticism about these antics. So that's my theory on that. Because I'm not going to lie, this was the first episode that I was kind of interested in Julia. This was the first episode that Julia had my attention. And that doesn't happen often. Not the silly, this was the episode where I see it. You know how a lot of the Julia fans were like, no, she needs to be full-time, she needs to be full-time. This was the first episode I was seeing it. And I hate that it took her to have conflict with her close friend before the show for me to see it. But hey, it is what it is. Okay, so next we have Dr. Nicole and Anthony arriving at their house that they're fixing up and renovating. And a lot of work has been done. It's actually pretty cool. And side note, I would love if Dr. Nicole and Anthony have like a show on HGTV and they show their fixer-upper, because I love fixer-upper shows. I really want them to do that. that there's an idea. Once you have the baby and once you get married, business moves. I don't know what kind of time or if they would ever have time to do that, just because, yeah. But anyway. And so this is a dual scene, by the way. So they go over how things are going. We find out Dr. Nicole finally had a period. So the process of her having a child is becoming closer than it was before. And then also then Anthony asks how the brunch went. She's talking about being a disaster and literally Marisol and Alexia losing their ish. On the other side here, we have Alexia packing up her things. We find out that Alexia still doesn't have a new place that they're moving into yet. They're still trying to figure that out. And she's talking to Frankie about it. And then Marisol shows up and they're recapping the brunch as well. So to recap it real quick, Alexia and Marisol still think Dr. Nicole was completely responsible for this. I don't know why. I'm still trying to figure out why are they ignoring the fact that Adriana's the one who brought her. I don't understand that part. I don't get that. But anyway, they are dying on the hill that this was Dr. Nicole's doing. And on the other side, Dr. Nicole feels away that things were a whole entire disaster. She's like, I don't understand. Because she also still doesn't understand what the issue is with Anna, with the rest of the ladies. By the way, I forgot to mention this during the Anna scene. Anna being there was very underwhelming. She didn't do anything. It was kind of a waste of her being there. I ain't gonna lie. Nothing happened. It didn't. So Adriana thought she was going to do something with it, and it fell flat, but it also caused way more chaos than she even probably anyone thought was going to happen. Anyway, back to this thing. So Dr. Nicole is like, I still know what the issue is, but I do feel bad that this kind of hijacked Gertie, because Gertie was so stressed out. She explains that Gertie was so stressed out that she's left. She had to go because the surgery was like the next day. And then on the other side, because again, dual scenes here, Marisol says the same thing. She's like, I feel bad because Gertie's surgery was the next day. And I ain't gonna lie, I'm happy that it's being addressed. Because I ain't gonna lie, this cast is starting to get on my nerves now. I'm gonna need y'all to acknowledge the fact that there's a cast member who's on this show that has real issues, and all this other petty stuff is really, really stupid. And sorry, Lisa, a lot of what your issues were partially your doing. Gertie, she can't control what happened with her. So that's the other thing. I'm just like, when are we going to acknowledge like the fact that like you literally have a cast member who's fighting for their life? But we do find out that Dr. Nicole and Julia will be visiting Gertie as she's recovering. Last but not least, the episode kind of ended again in a more somber note, where Gertie does return back home from the surgery after 5 hours, being very emotional, just happy to be home. Her kids did some really, really sweet, amazing things. They made cards for her, had Gatorade, had her pillows and everything ready to go. And she's groggy, isn't as sore as she probably will be once the stuff wears off. And it ends in a sad note because Gertie's happy to be there and happy that her boys got her back, but at the same time, it's hard to see someone like that, because she definitely felt the effects of the surgery. And according to the doctor, because they do actually show what the doctor has to say, because Russell's listening. He's just like, okay. She has to come back once they find out, because they're going to take the tumor to the lab to figure out how bad or how not so bad that tumor is, and depending on what that is, um, will determine her outcome. So even though she just had the surgery, the work is not even close to being over. Because she has to wait. And I think that probably, I don't know from personal experience, like me dealing with it, but the idea of the unknown like that, you have the surgery, well, you have to wait for the surgery, you do all these tests, you have to find out if you need surgery, you have the surgery, you have to wait after that, and then the surgery may or may not have been successful. They said in this episode it was, but I don't know. Come the next episode, the news don't sound so great. Um, but yeah. So that does conclude the Real Housewives of Miami. Um, this, out of all the episodes, it was kind of a filler episode and slightly underwhelming. I would say the episode before that, Mamacita Part 1, was a little bit more crescendo, but then we just kind of went down and kind of stayed there. Because there was really no positive things that happened this episode, and really not much light happened in this episode. This is probably one of the more darker episodes across the board. So it was dark when it came to like real life stuff, but then it was also dark because there was just so much conflict and really no resolution. So other than Julia making out with everyone, that was kind of funny, but anyway, please like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you get anything out of the content. It's your girl Sharon, aka the Melanin Nostalgic Runner, and I will see you next time. Bye.
To the touch, and I will love you till